Hey everyone. Time for Puzzle Talk, the geocaching puzzle podcast brought to you by the Geocache Talk Network. If you'd like to become a patron, click on the Become a Patron link on the front page of the Geocache Talk website, or head on over to patreon.com/geocache talk for more details. Patrons get the now famous blackout coins and other geocaching items during the year, as well as bonus content and invites to special events only for patrons. Support levels start at as little as Bison Tube level, which is $3 a month. Here are your hosts, Charles Watkins and Tom Brotherman. Good evening, gentlemen.
Well, there's one of us.
I'm here. I'm here.
He's there. Good evening. Good evening.
Evening. So
I had to go get something important.
Okay. What was that? Your blackout coin?
No.
Oh,
you got a blackout coin?
Your burra ginger root beer. Oh, Anchor.
Ginger.
Gotcha.
It's not a alcoholic thing. It's just a regular root beer, but it's got ginger in it. And
Okay, cool.
That's the root beer of this household.
Right.
I can buy any others. I just have to make sure I have this one for Cheryl. So I kind of stole one of hers.
Mm-hmm.
So
You want a coin? All right.
Joe, I can show you a really cool one. I got several cool ones here. Here's one of my favorite ones right now.
That is a good one.
There you go. What's cool is on the back. There you go. There's a puzzle on the back, which Puzzle Talk wouldn't do a coin without a puzzle on the back. So there's
that's right. There is a puzzle on the back,
and there will be a puzzle on the shirt. It's in process, but we're excited. It's taken a little time to get it just perfectly done, but I'm very excited about the shirt to get that when it comes out. So,
yeah, it ought to be exciting. There's going to be a puzzle built into the shirt, and
yeah,
we'll see where it goes from there. So crazy shenanigans. So
it's exactly.
All right,
You're gonna have like extra holes or something, and you got to figure out how to put it on.
Right. Yeah, that'll confuse you. You're gonna have to really work hard for that, but
it's gonna be acid washed.
Thank you, Hugh. Yes, it's my birthday and I'm on a podcast. Nothing can be better than that.
That's right. Happy birthday to you. What is that? You can finally buy your own beer at the bar now. Your 21st birthday now. I'm
legal, and I got the new my new driver's license doesn't have my face turned sideways or whatever they do. Remember the days of being underaged? And
yeah,
absolutely.
Back in the day, I think they made us turn sideways. I don't remember. I don't know what they did well, you were in Texas for a while, Charles.
Yeah, they made you turn your head sideways.
Yeah.
For under 18, and then for a while they used to have a stamp on it that said under 21. Now they turn them where the driver's licenses are vertical.
Oh, really?
I think that's the thing now, is that the driver's licenses are vertical, they're vertical like my work ID.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And then once you're of age, then they turn it this way.
Gotcha.
So yeah. Anyhow.
Anyway.
That's right. What do we got news-wise going?
We got news.
Yeah,
let's talk some news.
Listen, news to me.
So it's news to me. We got the Worldwide Cachecon coming up. Let's go ahead and play this since it's kind of fun to watch. This is the promo for the Worldwide Cachecon. Here we go.
What? Another Derek Baker production?
Another Derek Baker production. Here we go.
Yeah, this is a range of talent on our show. That's what Derek did. This is what you would have got if I had done it.
Wait, let's see that. Let's see that real quick. That's important. Yeah, there you go. Worldwide Cachecon 2021, a Tom Brotherman
Production.
production.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So, Tom, what are we talking about tonight?
Mr. Spock.
Live long and prosper. Well, no, it's logical.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
Are you crazy? Yes, very much so. So tonight's we're going to focus on logic puzzles, which should be a fun deal. We'll start the show off with a couple of caveats. The majority of the cache pages we're going to show you tonight and the caches that we're going to work through don't have a whole lot of finds on them, right? And part of that is probably because cachers tend to shy away from these, especially the way that a lot of the cache pages are set up. So we're going to start off kind of easy and build into some of this. But in the show notes, we do have a good number of resources so that if you are short on your logic puzzle knowledge on how to do it, I've got some resources that are posted up in there so that you can get in there and start to learn some of this and start to solve some of these puzzles. So definitely make sure that if you're short on your logic puzzle kind of know-how, or if you get to one and you're like, I have no clue where to even start with this, refer back to our show notes. They're going to be available after the show on the website. And check out those links that are on there for solving logic puzzles. The WikiHow is a good resource that has a lot of pictures in it. Some of the other two don't have quite as much pictures, but it is a good place to start. So there you have that.
Yeah, I like what you're going to do tonight in the fact that you're going to show them a couple of them that have that, and then from that, if you run across any of these in the future, you kind of know, you have the tools to know what you want to do if you don't have it. Like, you'll show them the tools, and then when you run across one that doesn't have it, you kind of know how to build the tool.
Right, exactly. So these very much are old school pen and paper type puzzles. You can do it in Excel. There are other, you can do it on the computer. I do a good number of mine in if the cache page already has a pre-built logic puzzle grid for me,
Right.
then I'll save that photo and open it in Microsoft Paint and then do it that way. There's a ton of ways to do these, so none of them are wrong. It's a way, not the way.
See, the people in the chat room are obviously similar to me. I have trouble with them too, but
Tom loves these.
Direwolf said logic puzzles don't like. Well, does he like them or does Cheryl like them?
Well, that one kind, and we talked about earlier, Cheryl likes. Yeah, I farm that out to her because that's her thing.
Awesome.
I farm that out to her.
It's not that I couldn't do it; it's that she can do it faster, and she likes doing them. So.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And we'll show that one at the end.
Yeah.
And it is a logic puzzle, but is a different kind of logic puzzle. And then after we show that one, we've got some other logic puzzles to share. So don't go anywhere. It's going to be a long show, but strap in, get you a frosty beverage, and we'll jump right on into this.
Yep.
So let me share my screen. This is going to be GC56P0F. And so let's.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'll put the notes in there, or put in the show in the chat room as well, so people can kind of cut and paste that. And
Okay, so this is a difficulty 2, terrain 1.5. So if you need a logic puzzle to start with, this is going to be the go-to to start with. This one is still an active cache, so we're not going to go into too much of it, but
yep.
We are going to scroll down and show you these 5 statements right here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at that on the side of the geocaching.com, by the way.
Look at that. That's us.
Wow, what do you know? A commercial worthwhile on a geocaching.com website.
Wow.
That's right.
How about right there?
These 5 lines in the cache page are the 5 lines that you're going to have to read through over and over and over again until you solve the puzzle.
Right.
This one is a good one because it gives you this paragraph right above them that starts with last Sunday.
Right.
That kind of gives you the layout for what you're going to need to look for in some of these puzzles down the road, so that you can build your puzzle square.
Direwolf, you can hit the X on the ad. No, you cannot hit the X on the ad, Direwolf. No. You leave those alone. Sorry.
So this one tells you that you're going to have 5 geocachers who are out hiding new caches. They place them all in a different location. So you have 5 different locations, and they all hit them at 5 different times, right? So you know that you have 3 groups of 5 to work with. But once you know this, like, how do you set your puzzle up for that? Well, thankfully, this cache owner set it up for you already. So when you scroll down here, you have your 5 geocachers right here on the upper left, and then you have the 5 places that they hid geocaches at. And then you have at both the top and the bottom the time that the geocaches were hidden, right?
Mm-hmm.
That way you can say Bookish 33 hid his in Joshua Tree at 1 o'clock, but you can also come down and say the Joshua Tree cache was hidden by Bookish 33 at 1 o'clock, right? So once you figure out how to work through the 5 logic puzzle phrases that they give you that teach you how to, or that tell you which ones you have to deduct out, then it's as easy as putting like X's and O's or check marks. Or Tom, what do you normally do to mark these for you? Do you do X's and O's?
I do it in Excel and I fill in the blank. So
okay, with a color.
I'll color in a thing.
Okay.
Now, some of them, though, Charles, you might. I mean, I know we don't want to jump ahead, but some of them, though, you might want to maybe read ahead so you know that it's not just an either or. Maybe it's some other kind of info. But anyway, we'll get to that later.
Right. Some of these will tell you, like, all right, so let's look at line 5 right here. Bookish hid her cache before Kurt Gibson, but not on a fence post, right? So we already knew that Bookish did not hide theirs on the fence post. So you can, however you want to mark this out. So there are some that are inclusive and some that are exclusive,
right?
That may give you a hint either way for that. So you know that Bookish hid their cache before Kurt Gibson. So what time over here could they not have hidden their cache at?
Right.
They couldn't have hid it at 9 o'clock, because if they hid it at 9 o'clock, There's no time slot after that for Kirk Gibson to hide a cache, right?
Right.
So Kirk Gibson at least has to be, at the latest, is 9 p.m. So that means that Bookish 33 is either 1, 2, 6, or 7, but you got to read through the rest of the puzzles to figure out, the rest of the statements to figure out where that may be, right?
Yeah. Kath uses her legend she uses is X for correct and dash for incorrect, but
there you go.
It's an option.
And right, it's again, it's a way, not the way.
Yeah.
Right. There's no right or wrong to this. You color it in. You color it with colors, the greens and reds.
Right.
And yellow.
Right. Yeah.
Because green is you know it, red is you don't, and yellow is maybe.
Right.
Yeah. And then at the bottom of this, they'll tell you A equals the time that Morning Fox hid their cache. B equals this, C equals this, and D equals this, and E equals that. And then you got to come back up and figure out where to plug in, or maybe you don't, where ABC.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. So here's your ABC DCE. So there's where you put in your D codes. Obviously, you got 1, 2, 6, 7, and 9 are going in those 6 spaces somewhere. So this is a good one to start with if you're not so familiar with logic puzzles.
Right. Well, and the other thing too is that we are always wanting people to we want to help people not only find puzzle caches, we want them to hide puzzle caches. So
right, exactly.
You can look at something like that and you can start to develop a cache page off of it.
And these, Tom would probably agree, are some of the easiest puzzles to go ahead and mimic because you don't have to do anything except change the numbers. Once you find a hiding spot for this that at least fits, the puzzle portion where you only have, 5 different characters in your last 3 digits of your east and west, or your north and west, or south and east, or whichever hemisphere you're in, it's fairly easy to rewrite this for just to redo the times, right?
Some guy named Memphis Mafia thinks they're the best, so
I'm
not sure who he is, but that's Jesse.
That one from Louisiana is not on this list. I was going to say that was one I was going to copy here. I was just going to change the.
Well, send it to me and I can add it.
Yeah, I'll get it found for you here in a minute.
Okay.
But like this one here, one of the things about hiding it that I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
That I noticed real quick because I was going to bring it up at the end of the show on the last one we had on the list. Is this guy when he made his puzzle used local cacher names? So you've already got 5 people hooked that they've got to solve it and go find it.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought to scroll down far enough to see who found it. But that's kind of funny that,
Direwolf throwing shade at Memphis. Only a lover of Where I Goes would make such a statement. So, which is funny. We'll talk about Where I Goes in a little bit, but that's for later in the show.
That's right. Later in the show.
That's not for another show. That's for later in the show.
All right. So the next one that we're going to look at has been archived. And so we're going to do a little more into it right here at the beginning. But it is the same kind of situation. So let me share my screen with the next one.
He uses red herrings for his local cachers. That's way to go, Dan. That's good.
So like I said, this one has been archived. It was in Nacogdoches, Texas, I found it back in 2013 when I was going to school there. Was one of the last caches that I found while I was still living in Nacogdoches before I graduated and moved away.
SFA, Axum Jacks.
But this one is the same way. So the cache owner has given you the puzzle and the clues over here for how to solve this.
I'll put the GC code up too. Just
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's GC10GKM. It's called Driving Test, and it's an archived cache.
yeah, I'll throw that up there just so people can play along at home.
Yeah, absolutely. So once you get this, if you save this image, because you can click on it and it'll make the image bigger. If you save the blown up version of this, then you can have it to work for on your computer. So we're going to hop out of this real quick. I've already got a portion of this completed. So we're going to hop over to my MS Paint, and
that's a good idea. I never thought of. I think I would just make some sort of crude version of it, but it'd probably be better to.
I do MS Paint. It's a way, not the way. There are plenty of ways.
I like the idea though.
For you to do this.
Yeah.
So, and that is my circle gets the square.
Sure.
All right. So when you sit here and start this at the beginning, Win, who found 11 finds, arrived in 20 minutes at an average speed of 48 kilometers per hour. Well, when you sit there and say Win had 11 finds, you can come down here to Win,
right,
and put right here in the 11 finds box that he had 11 finds. So nobody else, none of these other people can have 11 finds. So you, whatever it is that you use to mark them as no, right? Whether it's a dash, you mark the color in the squares red. I put X's in them,
right,
and O's in the good ones, or in the ones that I know. So then Win can't be in any of these other cache finds because it only has 11.
right.
Per the statement.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
He arrived in 20 minutes at an average speed of 48 kilometers per hour. Well, the distance driven is it's in miles. So you've got to do some math conversion. I know some of y'all are like math conversions. But the cache owner helps you out here because down here at the bottom, they did put 5 miles equals 8 kilometers, right? So 5 miles an hour equals 8 kilometers an hour,
right?
According to this puzzle, right? So don't come back at me. I haven't done the math to actually double check this, right? And so don't come back mad at me and say, Charles, 5 miles an hour is really 8 point whatever. The puzzle creator said 5 miles is 8 kilometers per hour.
In case you're wondering, Charles, I know you weren't, but it's 8.04672 according to Google.
Right. So I knew that it wasn't a solid round number like that. It's close enough, but
here's a nice puzzle trick you could put on there. You could make it up. You could say 5 miles is 5 miles is 7 kilometers.
Yeah,
it isn't.
It isn't. But that's irrelevant.
In your puzzle, it is.
make your own measurement. Instead of miles or kilometers, you want 7 Freds or something.
You're going to throw off people, though, which is the fun of puzzles. Is people are going to go, that's completely wrong. 5 miles is not 7 kilometers. You're like, it is in this world.
Right.
I just know going from miles to kilometers, you double it and add 20.
Right.
Yes.
Double it, add 20.
All right. So clue number 2 is the person with 5 fines came a shorter distance than Wally. Right. So that means that Wally up here at the top cannot have 5 fines.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That also means that Wally cannot go they came a shorter distance than Wally. So that means that Wally cannot go the shortest distance because somebody, at least one person, came a shorter distance than Wally. So you come over here to your 5 and you come down to 5 miles. Wait, they could have done that. We don't know which one Wally is. We'll hang out. So then you go to question 3. The person with 0 fines covered as many miles as Winnie drove in kilometers. Right? So here's the conversion part of this. Right? So you have to figure out
how far Winnie went.
How far Winnie went in miles, even though the person who had 0 fines covered as many miles as Winnie drove kilometers. Right? So now you have to convert kilometers to miles and
but that's how many fines they had. So you got to make sure you keep track of.
Right. So Winnie does not have 0 fines. Right. So you can put an X there for Winnie. She does not have 0 fines. Right.
Yep.
And so the person who does have 0 fines covered as many miles as Winnie drove kilometers. So you convert miles to kilometers. Well, 25 miles, according to this 5 equals 8, right?
Right.
So you do 25 miles is the same as 40 kilometers, right?
Yep.
So the person with 0 fine covered as many miles as Winnie drove kilometers. Well, 0 fines has to have the 25 mile mark, and Winnie is 40. Right? Did I do that right? Did I do that wrong? Anyhow, you've got to. Maybe I got it the other way. Drove as many miles as Winnie drove kilometers. So 25 miles is 40 kilometers. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And so then you go down to question 4, and the person with only 1 fine came only half as far as Wanda. So when you sit here and look at this, 5 is half of 10, and 25 is half of 50. So Wanda, or the person with 1 fine, could not have been 40 miles because there's no half of, right, 40 on the list. So once you get all the way through this and you figure out, then you start back up at the top, because some of the questions will have information that you didn't use the first time around, or that you didn't know how to use, or like Tom said, was a maybe. Is the yellow, if you're going to use red, green, and yellow, those are your yellow squares when you go through it initially, right, Tom?
Right.
Yep.
Makes sense.
So once you get through it one time, you go back to the beginning and start reading, because we didn't use this second part of this initially. The Win arrived 20 minutes at an average speed of 48 kilometers per hour, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to convert that 48 kilometers per hour over to miles per hour, right? And then do 20 minutes of it, right?
Right.
And so 48 kilometers per hour divided by 8, is it going to be by 8?
I would use 8.
Yeah.
Miles, yeah. That's probably why they did that too. They just make
right. And so it's going to convert you back over to your miles that way. So it's just one of those things that you've got to use the math that the person that the puzzle creator gave you.
Mhm.
And as you read through these, you cycle back around through them, a lot like a Sudoku puzzle.
Right.
Go through the puzzle, and then you start over again, and then you
Right.
start over again until you have it complete.
Right.
And then to get the coordinates for that, they give you the coordinates down here at the bottom. So it's north 31, 35, Wally's cash finds, Wanda's cash finds, and then Wilf's cash finds. And then west, Winnie's cash finds and Wynn's cash finds. So you can sit here and look at this and see that
Right.
Winnie and Wynn's cash finds cover double digits. At least one of them. One of them has to be the 11 finds, right?
Sure.
Winnie or Wynn. So you already know that Wally, if you looked at this at the beginning, you know that Wally, Wanda, and Wilf cannot be in the 11 finds category because one of these two has to. Right?
Okay, yeah. I follow you now. Yeah.
And so there are clues everywhere in these logic puzzles. If you look at it, you can deductively reason that Wally, Wanda, and Wilf all have to have single-digit cash finds.
Yep.
And either Winnie or Wynn, in this case, we know that it is Wynn because it gave us that in the first line of the clue, has 11 finds. So this is one that is archived, but I've got the solution still for this one.
Yep.
So if anybody has done the first one and has worked through this one, and this one was a difficulty. Was it a 4?
Let's take a look.
I pulled the cache page down, so
Hang
no,
on.
yeah. So it's a difficulty 4.
4-3. Yeah.
In a terrain of 3. So if some of our followers and watchers and listeners want to go through the logic puzzle, go through it, and you can email us your answer. Dun, 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 dun. Where's our...
I put it up.
Yeah, so puzzletalkpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to double check your coordinates, you can send them my way, and I will double check them for you and let you know whether you were correct or not.
Yep.
And whatnot. So if you want to work through that and send a coordinate check email, I'll be more than happy to respond to you and let you know whether you were correct or not.
Yep. Unfortunately, that one didn't have a checker on it. So
no, that one was
Charles will be your checker.
Yeah, that one was published in 2007 by a cacher named CDC, and then adopted by Jack Rock. When I found it, the inside of the cache had, about an inch of standing water inside it. And so I emptied it out and dried the cache out and went back to my car and got a Ziploc bag that I put the very wet logbook back in.
Yeah.
And it kind of just hung around for a while. A couple other cachers found it, but enough needs maintenance stuff got posted on it that the cache owner finally just archived it. Who knows? The next trip out to Neck of Nowhere, I may go try and look for this one and see if the container's still there.
Oh yeah, true.
Every now and then, cache owners just archive their caches and leave their cache trash out there.
Yeah, they do. That'd be a good show somewhere someday.
So we're gonna get into and we've got a list of these. And when the show notes publish, there's a list of these.
Yeah.
So before we go on, here's another one though. It'd be easy to change the names and put local cacher names in it to get people to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing I might do different. I don't know. Would you consider that a difficulty 4?
You kind of, if I remember right, when I was doing the puzzle, I got to a spot where I was stuck, and I reached out to my brother and I sent him what I had and whatnot. He has a math degree and really, really loves some of these math-based and logic-based puzzles. Anytime I have a problem with a really hard Sudoku puzzles, that I put them into an online solver, and the online solver tells me that there are possibly multiple solutions to it. I'll send it to him, and he'll send it back to me and say, all right, so your answers are either this, this, or this. And he'll send me the 3 solutions that he'd come up with. And lo and behold, you take the numbers out of them, plug them into the solution checker. And thankfully, with one of them that had multiple solutions, he had a checker on the page. And one of the 3 solutions that my brother sent me back worked with the checker. So it doesn't always happen. That's, checkers are a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this is another one where you could easily change the names in it to be local cachers around your area, especially if you have some friends that are cachers that may not be real good puzzle cachers.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, the other thing I would do to maybe kick it up a notch is make it a longer story, because this has just got the bare bones minimum logic stuff in it.
Yeah.
So add some baloney to it also.
Oh, yeah.
Just some fluff.
Just some fluff. The guy who has 0 finds, he couldn't find the floor if he fell out of bed. And the guy who didn't go very far. Well, he always stops to eat chicken at this place or something. Just
drove a red truck, and you're like, red truck. Okay, I got to make a note of the red truck.
Yeah,
it never comes up in there.
It's stuff that'll never come up, but you throw it in there just because adds to the confusion.
Well, it's a puzzle. Can't always be easy.
And on your Sudoku thing, so this is where I know I'm getting off topic on here a little bit, but where they have multiple solutions, sometimes you do have to look at all those solutions, but there's only going to be one that fits the checker, but sometimes you can rule the others out pretty quick just because of the numbers they use. Like, the first 3 numbers in the north and the west,
right,
or the south and east, depending on where you may live in the world.
Sure.
Right. So we're gonna, let's see, swap over to this one that's called "Do You Think I'm Einstein?"
Okay.
It's GC1M5W8. Yeah, I bet you do as a software engineer, Dan. That's daily life for you.
My wife does database stuff, so yeah, I agree.
Exactly. I put it in the chat as well. So
good. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's see, 5W. Making sure I pull up the right one because I got several open.
Right.
So this one's in Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Yeah, you have to show that one because I have the answer to this one.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Were you a first to solve or?
Oh gosh, no. Not even close.
All right. So this one, as you scroll through here and look at this, there is no.
It's got a checker. That's cool.
It does have a checker, but there's no grid to create.
Oh.
So what do you do when you stumble across a geocache like this, where it's a puzzle cache? By looking at it and reading through it, you know that it's a logic puzzle.
Right.
And so now you have to go back in and create that, your puzzle blocks. So the first thing that you do when you come across one like this, let's see what Tom does. Tom, what do you do when you first come across one like this that you have figured out as a logic puzzle, but it doesn't have the grid squares already built.
So this one, I built one. I built in Excel.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
So without getting totally into this thing, there's five names in this thing. You got five. Everything is in fives. So you're definitely going to use 5 cells, and then going down the first column, I list the different options you have. So there was names, the type of house they live in, the seafood, the drink, and the pets. And then it's kind of just like what you had a while ago. You start putting in, like you said, it's like a Sudoku. You put in what you know, and then you go back in and second time around and fill in what you know now that you've got some stuff filled in, and you just keep doing it over and over till the whole thing's filled in.
Yep.
Right. And Dan brings up a good point, and this is what we were talking about on the first puzzle, where you had hours across the top and you had hours across the going up and down. You have to have a common group in each grid, right? So however you go to do this, you got names, houses, seafood, drinks, and pets. This one's going to end up being a much larger grid than
actually, this grid is smaller than the ones you just showed because it's just one thing. It didn't have
5 by 5
hours over here on far right and hours down or times down at the bottom. It's just one thing.
Oh, okay.
One thing too, when you start to do these, is check and see if the cache owner has given you. They might have given you some help, and in this case, they did. I'm going to tell you that this is the hint they give. Make a 5 by 5 grid and plug in info as you can. You may need to reread the facts many times to place each one. So,
that's a short version of what I just said.
Yeah. But take a look around. You never know. Sometimes cache owners will give you a little bit of if you're interested in it, if you need it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, definitely look at the hints on these. Excel may help, right? That's what Tom said earlier.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Or plain paper. You can do this on plain paper.
Right. He tells you how to, and then title each column: name, house, seafood, pet, beverage. Right. So he gives you some hints in how to do this, and then as you read the facts, right now, Mr. Bordeaux lives in a plantation house.
Yeah, getting the grid right may be your trickiest part sometimes. That's true.
And that is true. So that's where doing some of these or reviewing the help places that we have in the show notes for how to help
That's true.
solve.
Dan just said that some
of the facts aren't relevant until you start to weed. You got to sift them out to figure out maybe what is relevant. You're right.
Yeah, and that's where, like both Tom and I were saying, you've got to read through them and then start back at the top and read through them again because, number 5, the owner of the houseboat likes to eat crabs. That may not be real relevant to you, until you get to some other, whatever, number 14, where it says, Mr. Robin Chalk drinks jungle juice. Jungle juice? What kind of cache page is this? Good gravy.
Yep.
That's what we used to call when we mixed Hawaiian punch with all of the neighbors' parents' spare alcohol and threw it all in a little Gatorade cooler with some Hawaiian punch and
well,
trash can punch.
Your drink choices on there are Jack Daniels, hand grenades, hurricanes, jungle juice, and Jello shots.
Oh, good Lord! Is a Jello shot a drink? Does it classify? I mean, it's solid. You gotta.
I don't know.
So
You know,
yeah,
this is off. It's totally off. But I never had Jello shots till about 2 or 3 years ago, and yeah, I don't see what the big deal was with those. I was not interested.
We didn't have them in college when I was in college. We
Well,
had a lot
they hadn't invented Jello yet.
we had plenty of trash can punch.
yeah, it is Louisiana.
It
True
is
statement.
Louisiana, so
All right, so we're gonna pull up one that Tom had me fix real quick. This one that we're gonna pull up is GC51CVW. It is called Casher's Marathon, and it is by CB Motorcycle and Honey.
cool.
No, not motorcycle. Master Chief.
Oh, Master Chief. That's right. That's where the CB comes from. He'll let me have it at the next.
Yeah, you might see him this weekend.
I might, and if not, I'll see him at Challenge. So let me share my screen real quick because he likes to come up to me at Challenge, and his wife does too. They're good people. All right, so we have that the cache is not at the coordinates listed above. We'll scroll up real quick so replay viewers can
It's
see
kind of
this.
over in Electric Waterboy's neck of the woods.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I'm not mentioned in it, but I had to solve it anyway.
Of course, it's not far.
It looks like the tree that this thing was hiding in is missing now.
Oh, sad face.
So you got to wait 4 or 5 years for the new one to grow back.
Yeah. So in the meantime, he does have the puzzle down here, and this is fun because if you are a Texas cacher down in that area of the world, or even not, you can look at some of these and figure out JMCZ, Mrs. Captain Picard, Footnotes Coach, First Sergeant. These are all local cachers to the area. So this is one where the cache owner has kind of made it personal with the locals and put them in one of his puzzle caches to see, I guess, if they could solve it. And so this one doesn't give you the grid squares either. Let's see if he gives you some hints. He gives you no hints.
Wow.
Well, yeah, no hints.
He's tough.
It's only had 34 correct solutions in the certitude, but that doesn't mean that there have only been 34 finders.
Right. 34 people checked their answers.
And there have only been 27 smiley faces.
Which is, it was put out in 2014, so it's been out for a while.
Yeah.
Right. So this goes back to that thing that we said at the beginning, right? That some people shy away from these style of puzzles because they're not sure how to start. So, some of the stuff that we shared,
and that was a certitude, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a certitude.
Yeah, it's a certitude.
Yeah, so you got 34 solves and 27 finds, and you're like, okay, why are there? And there's not 7 DNFs, so what's the deal? There's people who love to solve these puzzles and just get their name on the certitude list.
Yep.
Oh, well, that's true.
I had a guy solve one of my puzzle caches that I published here recently. And I think he was the first person to solve it from Denmark. He looked at recently published puzzle caches, picked one, and that was his puzzle cache for the day that he does. So
that's
kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that.
So again, low find count on some of these, but don't let that shy you away from it.
Yes.
There's always tips and tricks and hints on how to solve these. And if you don't know where to start, the show notes at the end is a good place because we've got 3 real good websites that will help you start learning how to solve some of these.
Yes.
So you can see in here, let's see, The recent cash marathon has just taken place. The judges had to give up keeping a track of who won. The results are missing. Using the following spectators' notes, can you determine who finished where? Right. So obviously you've got a number. You've got to go through here and figure out you got a number of cashers and what place that they're going to be in, 1 through whatever. So the first thing you got to do out of all of this is figure out how many cashers you have.
Yep.
Right. So you go through and write all their caching names down. Cashman 48, MoCat, JMCZ, Tomlin Fam 4, Tetrastar, Footnotes Coach, Mrs. Captain Picard is in here, Tech 65 is in here, First Sergeant is in here. So you've got to go through and figure out how many names you have, right? And then once you start going through that data, you can go back to your facts, right? And start reading it from the top down and figure out who finished in 1st through 9th place, right? I'm going to assume that there are 9.
10.
9. Are there 10?
Yeah.
So it's 0 through 9, or is it 1 through 10?
I did it 1 through 10, but I used 10 as 0.
Okay.
Well,
so there you go.
Nobody finished 0. They finished first.
Well, right. So there you go, 1 through 10, and then you got to read through it again and again until you've placed them all. So this is a good puzzle cache. If you can solve this one, send an email to the email address, and Tom will check your coordinates for it because he has solved coordinates for it.
There's a cache checker right there. So when you get this one's kind of tricky. So you're going to get the order, and then it tells you the coordinates down there with a bunch of X's, and you're like, okay, well, what do I do with that?
Right.
On the certitude. What's the certitude?
Highlight underneath all that stuff, under the certitude, or all that stuff.
Oh, there you go. Mrs. Captain Picard, Tetrastar, JMCZ, Tech 65, MoCat, and Footnotes Coach.
So there's six numbers there.
Right.
And you got 6 digits to fill in up there. So there's your clue.
So that goes back to the highlighting of white font on a cache page and reading the page's source code.
Yeah.
So that makes a world of difference. And he's got that rated as a 3.5. Man, if I had finished this and then be like, all right, so now what do I do with it?
Yeah. Where do I go now?
That's what made the difficulty go up a hair, because it's like, okay, now what? Because I mean, I just killed part of his puzzle, but the figuring the order is not all that difficult.
Right.
I mean,
the facts were pretty straightforward.
Start with the first thing up there. This is another one I did in Excel, but you already know, and you're zoomed out too far. I can't read that.
It says
Cashman. Right, so you know that MoCat and JMCZ would be ahead of Cashman 48, and Tomlin Family 4 is going to be after. So you put MoCat and JMC at first, and Cashman 48 second, Tomlin Family third, and then you go to the next one. And you just keep adding in who, Tetrastar has got to be before Footnotes Coach and MoCat. So
right,
I'd add them. Tetrastar is first, and Footnotes Coach and MoCat on the second line. But you just eventually you're going to get to where those things start blending, and you know which order to put them in.
Right. So, okay.
If you can, Charles, take a look at Off the Wall Racing. It's different. I think that's why I think it might be a good one to bring up, because instead of, I mean, you still can grid it out, but I like the idea of the racing one because it's more of a, I would say story, but it's like a announcer doing a play-by-play, or in this case, a race.
Yeah, I
And
see that.
so what he's doing is it's like you're listening to a radio broadcast. And
Okay.
I think that's kind of a cool thing to do if you're a fan of racing, or if you're a fan of, say, maybe horse racing. You
Fan
can
of
kind of
nasty
use, yeah, you can kind of use your, some of the things that if you love football, you could probably make a logic one with football. I mean, there's, kind of take some of these puzzles, think through them, and use some of the things that you really enjoy, because that's what they want to. Yeah, audio files is a great idea. Burnt turtles.
All right, I've got it pulled up. Let's share this one real quick. It's GC 2 T E F and 8. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Crown tab off the raw racing. Okay, so it's a difficulty 3, terrain 1.5, but it's been archived. So good luck.
Yep.
So as you scroll down here, let's see here. Oh, and it's in California. Nobody wants to go to California if you're not already there. All right, so cache is not at the listed coordinates. Read the narrative to get to the final location. And there's a picture of a NASCAR racing. So back before I got into geocaching, I used to race stock cars. My last race was one of my most memorable races. It was a warm summer day in September. My car was running well. It was the last race of the season, and there was a big points battle brewing between myself, Jeffrey Northern Waters, and Billy Joe Heading West. So there you got three race cars. The day started off well. I was able to put my off-the-wall racing number 19 Chevy Monte Carlo on the pole for the night's race. Northern Waters in his Jeff's Garage number 28 Ford Taurus qualified in the 14th spot, and Heading West in the Giants Heating and Air number 40 Dodge Charger would start the race in 15th spot. When the green flag flew, it was a tight battle. I led for the first 15 laps of the 50-lap event, while Waters and West battled it out behind me. On lap 16, Northern Waters had made it to second place and was mounting a charge for the lead. I knew I needed to win if I had hopes of winning the championship. Lap after lap, we battled for the lead. Jeffrey was on the outside and I was on the inside. We seemed to be glued to one another. So it goes on and on through this puzzle. I kind of like this one.
Yeah, he explains about the finishing points too, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. So let's see.
Man,
Our racing organization gave out points.
I know a couple guys in Tatum.
Yeah, so he does a kind of an interesting thing with it. He says, define the coordinates to this cache, combine the car number, finishing spot, and total points earned that night. So kind of a cool idea to basically take the dialogue and you've got to sift through, okay, what was the car number? Where did they finish? And then based on that finishing spot, then you want to get the total points that they earned. And he gives you the point totals for that. So
right, and he does have a checker for this one.
Yeah.
So even though that the cache is archived, and these are some of the fun puzzles to look for. Even though that the cache is archived, it still has a checker, and the checker more than likely still works as long as you can figure out the puzzle.
Right.
Yep.
It doesn't say. I guess we can scroll down here.
It's using Geo Checker, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, it was last found in 2013. GeoChecker said that I was in the right area. Hint directed me. Yeah, so it's got 2 DNFs, a couple of right notes, and then this guy who couldn't find it and didn't get no response from the CO.
Yep, finally got archived. Yeah,
with 1,800 finds, put it in needs archived on it, and then the reviewer temporarily disabled it the exact same day.
Wow, how about that?
And that was this man. I mean, as much as people give reviewers a bad name, this reviewer was on it, man. He gave him 30 days from the temporary disabled notice, and he was like, no, 30 days archive done.
It'd been a while, but like you said, the checker might probably
checker's still going to work. Yeah,
going to work.
I brought up the checker page just now, so the checker page still brings you to a valid GeoChecker on geochecker.com.
So.
Still
solve it. And that, again, it's kind of a cool idea to do it a little bit differently.
No, a pair of guys in Tatum, I'm going to send that to because they race cars.
Oh, see, that's a combining things.
I like the idea of doing a horse race and an audio file because horse racing announcers, those guys get crazy. That'd be fun. Make up some goofy horse names and
absolutely have fun with it. Yeah, I did the one you found, Tom, with an audio file. You can put out on. There's ways to do that are. It's probably I archived that one, but I think the audio file is still out there. I mean, you could still goof around with it and find it, or at least check the coordinates and all that stuff. So.
Or even better, do a YouTube video of it.
Yeah.
You be the announcer like you're watching the race and just get dramatic, and that'd be fun.
Yeah. Those are good ideas.
So I guess at this point we can sit there and kind of shift gears a little bit. Logic puzzles are not just limited to the puzzle cache icon type.
Right.
There are other ways that you can have a logic puzzle in geocaching that do not involve the question mark puzzle unknown type cache category.
Yep.
Perish the thought.
Yes.
Are you going to say somebody took a logic puzzle and made it into a multi or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. Something like that. So,
hey,
no! I know where he's going now.
We stretch the boundaries on Puzzle Talk. We're not just the question mark.
That's right.
Although the question mark is important.
It is. So let me share this. This is one of my caches.
Is this the Y mark?
This is the what the heck?
This is
the where we go.
The where I go. That's right. The where we go.
Here we go. Here we go.
So this is one that I have in Wyoming. This is probably one of the most well-known logic puzzles that everybody should be aware of. It's a children's riddle, the chicken, the fox, and the grain, right? And so you have, depending on the storyline of it, you come to a river crossing, you have a chicken, a fox, and a grain, and there's a rowboat there, but there's only enough room in the rowboat for you and one of the items, right? And if you leave the chicken with the fox will eat the chicken. And if you leave the chicken with the chicken will eat the grain. So you have to navigate all 3 items across the river without leaving one with the other, right?
Yep.
And so this is a where I go, which segues very nicely into our breaking news that we had the other day.
Exactly.
About the new, I don't know, this probably isn't going to work. The new Where I Go app that's right there. It's blurry as all get out.
No, it looks good. You're good.
So the new Where I Go app that came out that is by Groundspeak for iOS devices. If you have an iOS device, please go download the new Where I Go app. That at least shows Groundspeak how many downloads it has, and get more money from HQ dedicated to Where I Goes. All right, so back
and
to
it is so much easier than the old Where I Go app.
It really is. It's a phenomenal app, and I'm glad to see it come out. And this ties right into that. But you have to, in my cartridge, it tells you right here, at the given location, you will find a bridge with a walking path on the south side of it. On the east side of the bridge, you'll find a fox, a chicken, and some grain. Your chore is to transport all three across to the west side of the bridge. However, you can only carry one item at a time. Leave the fox alone with the chicken unsupervised, and the fox will eat the chicken and you will lose. Likewise, leave the chicken alone with the grain, and the chicken will eat the grain and you will lose. Fortunately for you, losing just means that you have to quit the cartridge and start the game over again. Best of luck. And then it tells you here that the cartridge has been field tested on several devices that I own that are Where I Go compatible. And then up here, I give you a link to the Where I Go. This is a link that takes you to the geocaching forums, where I have a deal that tells you Groundspeak wouldn't let me tell you that it was that I tested it on a iPhone this and a Garmin this and a Android this. So what they did say is that I could make a link to the Groundspeak forums that told you all of this. So I made a link to the Groundspeak forums, and right here, this link to the GC forums might also be of some help if you're wanting to complete this cartridge from your smartphone. So there's some additional information that I put in there. But this one's only been found 19 times. And one DNF, which is funny because the person who DNF'd it has like 60,000 finds. So then he reached out to me and said, "Hey, I couldn't find this." And I said, "All right, well, you were in the right spot. Just keep looking. It's there." And then he came back a couple of weeks later and found it. So it was all good. But you have to go back and forth across this bridge, across the Bighorn River in north central Wyoming.
And the cool thing is,
how far is that bridge?
The app does download pretty easily, though, which is cool. So,
yeah.
That's the nice part. It's quick and easy now. You don't have to go through a whole rigmarole to get a cartridge downloaded.
To get from the one zone to the other on this one is about 100-yard walk across the bridge.
Okay. So you don't have to pack a lunch. No.
And in fact, you got
9 favorite points. The
final for this one is within 100 yards of the bridge in the opposite direction. So I have that one in Wyoming. I actually pulled 3 of these. Where I Go, chicken, fox, and grain.
Yep.
Ones. This one is my chicken, fox, and the grain Where I Go that is in Montrose, Colorado. And I took the exact same and just moved the squares to Colorado. It even looks the same. There's a reason for that. And this one's been found 16 times and 1 DNF. Yeah, this one you park.
Dan says.
Well, this one you park. You walk down this nice, brand new paved bike trail to a short bridge that's probably 25 yards wide that goes across the Uncompahgre River. And you go back and forth, and then I'm not gonna. Just finding that's a good.
He's asking if you did use the Ranger Fox or did you use the Here We Go or.
I use the Year We Go.
I like the Year We Go best. That's me.
And I'm not gonna lie, I straight up pirated this cartridge.
Yeah, it's fine.
From somebody else. And I give him credit in this because he is the third Where I Go puzzle that I listed down here. So I figured if I'm going to show my three, I might want to show the one that I got it from.
Right.
The Chicken, the Fox, and the Grain, just outside of Houston, Texas, done by Houston Control. I liked it. This one has 63 favorites. It was close to Geo Coin Fest.
Right.
Down there that was down.
It was in Houston, yeah.
Area. And so everybody who wanted to go and get 12 or 13 icons in a day, this was the closest Where I Go cache to them.
Oh, cool.
And so it got a lot of finds and a lot of favorite points that weekend.
Sure.
We'll scroll down, 138 finds. So this one definitely has more finds than any of the other logic puzzles we've looked at. But his is the same way. It's a little bridge that goes across a canal down there outside of Houston.
Abe says he has one near him found 50 times. So popular, that might be a good one if you're interested in doing one like that because.
Yeah. And I sent this code to See My Shell.
Yep.
In Sydney, Australia. And he created a Chicken, Fox, and Grain Where I Go in Sydney. So if you're down in Oz and you get over, Darren, if you get over towards Sydney, there is one of these that is created by See My Shell, and that is down near, it's on a bridge that goes across the freeway system there on a walking bridge. But same concept.
Yeah.
Okay. And still not hateful. He didn't do it something like the Golden Gate Bridge or something.
That bridge is much larger than any. I think it goes across like 5 lanes or 6 lanes in each direction. And so it's when you look at it on the satellite map, it is a massive bridge that goes across. It'd be like trying to do a walking bridge across like Interstate 20 at the Interstate 30 junction.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like it is a walking bridge, but it is a walking bridge that
5 lanes, couple rail lines.
Yeah, I think it's got 5 lanes in each direction, and then
you can walk it.
Oh yeah, you can walk it. But it's
you might need to copy that one near him. So
Darren, I can send you the Year We Go file if you want. Just send me an email, and I'll send that. Send me an email to Puzzle Talk Podcast, and that goes for anybody. If anybody wants the code, because I didn't write it. I don't know if Houston Control wrote it, but it's for the Year We Go platform.
Yep.
And I'll send it to you. Download the Year We Go, and I'll send you the code. And then, because I did that with See My Shell, I'll just send it to you. You can go in and build it for what you need to do there.
Yeah, you could make the terrain a little bit tricky.
Yeah, absolutely. Put it out there on a
lake. Kayak time, as Memphis Mafia is saying.
Yeah. So
have a lot of fun with that.
I was thinking if you want to be real hateful, put it on the Texas-Mexico border.
Ooh, hang on now.
How long does it take you to cross the border now?
It's just getting through security is the nightmare.
I'm afraid the chicken would die and then waiting for you to get the permits to get across.
You'd leave the chicken on the other side and somebody'd eat him.
He would eat him. Somebody would.
So, but if somebody wants one, absolutely, I'll send you the code for it, and then you can go in and create it however you would like, wherever you're at. So then that gives you a logic puzzle.
Yep.
In a Where I Go.
There you go.
Um,
Perfect.
So don't think that, yeah. So don't think that you're just limited to question mark styles when you do some of these logic puzzles. There
think-
are.
You do. You have to declare that chicken when you cross.
You probably have to. They'd probably be more worried about the agricultural
The
product,
grain?
the grain. As many times as I have come back from Mexico, they didn't worry about the taco that I was eating.
Right.
But they were worried about the bananas and the mangoes in the back seat,
Yeah.
So the grain probably would get looked at a little stricter than the chicken or the fox would.
We had that problem going to California. They were like checking produce. It's like, well, I can understand that,
Yeah. I see a bunch of people when we lived in Wyoming would go to Yellowstone. They would get stopped for certified weed-free hay, and if their hay going through the national park was not certified weed-free, then they'd make the ranchers offload it. They couldn't go through Yellowstone with it, and they had a giant pile, at each gate of Yellowstone coming in where people had hay or alfalfa that was not certified weed-free, and the park rangers wouldn't let them take it through.
Yeah, well, invasive species you don't sometimes want. I mean, there's
so you dump it outside the park, and the wind blows all the invasive stuff into the park. It's like,
oh no, trust me, they had local ranchers on speed dial for that stuff.
They'd probably burn it up and not let you.
They'd probably show up with a trailer before you got it all unloaded, or you just had to turn around and go back the other direction. You couldn't take the shortcut through Yellowstone.
Right.
It'd probably take you just as long, even though it was probably much shorter, but 10 miles an hour through Yellowstone in the summertime with a trailer. Yeah. So, hey, we've got a list of these logic puzzles that are going to be in the show notes.
Yep.
Check them out. Find one that you can adapt for your local caching area. Make a new puzzle cache and put it out there. If you want to put a new puzzle cache where I go out, send an email to our email, puzzlecachetalk@gmail.com, puzzletalkpodcast@gmail.com, and I'll send you the file for the Year We Go builder, and then you can put a logic puzzle where I go out.
Love it. Well, I think we're at a wrapping point. Tom, you have you want a final thought on this? I know you've probably done a lot of these.
I've done a few of them, but there's a bunch on that list I'm going to go and do because I hadn't seen them.
Yep. Very cool.
And these are very easy to adapt.
Yeah, they are.
And you gave me ideas and stuff to create tonight, so that's going to be fun.
Cool.
There's going to be a plethora of new puzzle caches.
Yeah.
Well, like the horse racing thing, like I said, do a video of that, and I live about a mile from a horse track.
That's true. You do.
Yeah.
Yep. Burnt Turtle says, thanks for the help, boys. Thank you so much. All right. And we're wrapped up. We'll see everybody next Tuesday. Well, we'll see you Sunday, hopefully, but also Tuesday.
That's right.
So here we go.
Yeah, I'll be around Sunday.
Thanks, guys.